Greetings and welcome to part two of the War of the Three Banners video, a video by Sir Mike the Hedge Knight. We are in phase four. So part one of this video discussed parts one and two, or phases one and two. It was just before the beginning of phase three. The phase lasts 24 hours, just like phase four. I was going to wait until phase four ended to do sort of a recap of three and four, but it's just so cool. It's so interesting that I wanted to do part two of this video while the event was still ongoing so that I could point to a couple of things a couple of things they did really just blew me away. I mean, I think it's really slick, very well polished, really happy with it so far. And, in just a day or so, a day and a couple of hours after the part one of my video came out, boy, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot. So I want to pass on some of that information. So the screen that you're seeing here, again, we're in phase four. It's a little different in phase three. I guess we should at least touch on it. The larger circles that you'll see, obviously the red keep is in the middle. To the northwest and east of it, you'll see some larger circles. Now, fortunately for my alliance, they're all in blue, which means my alliance was able to capture those outposts, which is great. Those are the larger outposts that are worth 15,000 points apiece. If you're in phase three, those outposts would not be color coded because they're all up for grabs. So in phase four, they give you sort of a recap of how did everybody do. So you'll see here the three large outposts were won by the Blue Alliance, which happens to be mine. Just to the 2 o'clock from the Red Keep, there's a small outpost that is color coded blue. We won that one as well. Real quick, you could see which alliances have won which outposts. And let's say you forgot what the bonuses were. So all the way on the bottom, it says see all bonuses. Let's click on that. And like I said, we're going to see in this video just a couple of things in the menu. And when I said earlier, it's the best word I can come up with is slick. I'm impressed. For something that's, it's not in beta, they've rolled it out, but it looks like they did a good job in their beta testing and they made everything very presentable and very easy to understand. Now, their initial rules, while thorough, left a lot open to interpretation. We had a lot of questions in my alliance. How does this work? How does that work? I think, again, just 24 hours later, I think a lot of those questions have been answered. We did learn a couple things. So here is a summary. So now that we're in phase four, any outposts your alliance won, on top of getting the points, they get buffs. Every one of your four teams, all of your teams are now automatically deployed to the Red Keep. Outpost fighting is done. Each of your teams is going to get to fight one more battle. And in every battle they fight, they will get the buffs that your alliance has claimed from the Outpost Clash phase 3. However, if you fight against a member, and we'll see this, but if you fight against a member of, scrolling down a little, the Black Tower, well, we have to contend with the three buffs that they were victorious, the outposts that they were victorious in, that they claimed. As for the ones we won, all enemies begin with 2 raid. All allied Starks gain 25% defense. That's really good, but again, in phase 3, where you were deploying your teams to specific outposts, you put your Stark team in the outpost that had that buff. Now you're in phase 4, we own that buff. Great. That's great for my Stark team. Doesn't help my Baratheon team. Doesn't help my Targaryen team. It's not going to help someone's Greens team. So as strong as that buff is, it's only going to be helpful. Now it's helpful that the enemies don't have it. So now I can fight enemy Stark teams. They don't have it. Good. But it's not going to be as helpful toward our teams that have no Starks on them. Same thing with this Brotherhood one, and I talked about this in part one of the video as well. This was in a large outpost, and I'm really glad we got the 15,000 points. I'm glad we're playing with a lead. But the buff is like, all allied Brotherhood without Banners champions gain 40% critical damage. That's great for Beric. And that is it. I mean, even if you've got Thoros leveled up, he's not really a damage dealer. And other than that, the Brotherhood, I think, has an epic and a common. So for a large outpost buff, that was very underwhelming. The last one is interesting. All green allies. And that is the color green, not the green family. All green allies gain 25% defense. So a nice thing here is, now I don't have these characters, but if you have Catelyn Stark or Sansa Stark, they are green Starks. They're going to get the benefit in their fights of a 50% defense buff, and I think that's permanent. I don't think that's a buff that, I don't see it. I mean, I'm not really sure. We're still, this I guess will be a question. Can that buff be removed? Is it going to show up underneath them, like when a buff was put in play during the course of battle that can later be removed? Or is that buff permanent? Some things are permanent, like leader abilities are permanent. They last for the entire, some of them will last for the entire combat. So that is an interesting question. But if that can't be removed, you know how tough it is to take out Catelyn Stark and Sansa Stark. Sometime when they're up 5, 6, 7 stars, we'll now throw a 50% defense buff on them, and woof, it's going to be something. So enough about that. Also, obviously on top they list the alliances. They list the current score of all the alliances. Very cool. Let's do this. Right now, the only place that combat is happening is at the Red Keep. And you'll see, if you look closely, there's the images of 4 characters there. Those are the 4 leaders of my team. So obviously for Phase 4, everyone's in the Red Keep. You don't have to deploy yourself there. You're sort of auto-deployed to the Red Keep. However, at a quick glance, when you were in Phase 3 and those were scattered around, I didn't have to search for, wait, which tower am I in and what buff am I? It showed it to you. So if I was in, let's say, the large outpost all the way to the left, and I saw a little thing of Ned there, I'm like, oh, that's right, I put Ned in that tower. What's that buff? Okay, let's go fight. So that, like I said, a lot of things are just very slick, very cool, very intuitive, very easy to navigate. And in that vein, I'm going to touch the Red Keep. Let's expand. Now, when I did this earlier, maybe because too many people were logging in to play Phase 4 at the same time, the app was very slow. It crashed on me once. And again, that could just be first week jitters, things that they have to clean up, or it could be a bandwidth issue. What are the first couple of things that they show us? Well, they remind us that the Red Keep outpost victory is worth 25,000 points. I think we're all pretty well aware of that, but thank you for the reminder. It's good to know. Down below, it shows us how each team is doing. So at the top of the screen, we see scores for all the teams. That's the cumulative score. That's to win the War of the Three Banners. Down here, it's how's the scoring going, right? And actually, if you just looked at it, just blinked. Somebody on Black Tower must have just fought a fight, and the number went up to 17-3. So this is being updated in real time, and it's showing you the current score just for this phase. And again, in Phase 4, we only have the Red Keep, but in Phase 3, it was doing this as well for each outpost. You can click on an outpost, see who's winning the outpost and by how much. But what's really interesting is just under the outpost leaderboard, it says 146 of 337 total battles completed. Well, that's cool, but how much for each team? Well, guess what? Click on this battle log. The battle log this is what really impressed me the most. And again, it works for each outpost during Phase 3 and now for the Red Keep in Phase 4. It breaks out the number of potential battles and battles completed by alliance. And this is really helpful because we're looking at the second place team, Black Tower. Now, if they win the Red Keep, they're beating us in the Red Keep right now. That's 25,000 points. And we had a lead of about 29. So they could win the Red Keep. We might still win the Alliance War. But if they beat us by more than 4,000, 4,500 points, now we're not going to win the Alliance War. And now looking at this, though, even though they had gained about 2,500, 3,000 points on us so far in this phase, what this screen shows is they have 109 teams entered. Why it's an odd, I guess one of their members deployed one team or something. So that's a mistake that they made. So that's to our benefit. And of those 109 potential battles, they fought 58. So they're a little bit more than halfway done. And when we look at our alliance, yeah, we're trailing in points by 3,000. But we have more potential battles, 112 to their 109. And remember, just fighting gets you 50. You can fight and lose and get 50 points. It's something. But we've only played 49 of them. I haven't played any of my teams at this point. So yes, they are now an even 3,000 points ahead of us in this phase. But we have 9 more. They've fought 9 more battles than us. So let's say, from a tactics perspective, you're getting into the last couple of hours, let's say. Now, right now, you've got 20 hours to go. It's too soon to tell. But now you get to the last couple hours of the event, and it's getting really, really close. But they've spent most of their battles, and we have more than them remaining. I think what you tell your alliance members is, don't be a hero. Don't be here. Don't go for a tough fight. I'm going to show you the fight screen as well. Don't take a tough fight that you might lose. And I don't want to hear you complaining after, well, I just had a bad board. Yeah, I get bad boards too. But this is about, even though there's rewards for the top 5 players, you got to put the alliance first. So if it's tight toward the end and you've saved your 4 battles, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fight tomorrow morning at probably around 10. I want there to be 2 hours or less to go. I want to have a feel for where we are. Are we tied? Do we have a slight lead? Are we behind at that point? Are we in trouble? Because that's going to help me determine what risks I'm going to take with my 4 fights. And if we just need a couple of easy wins for all 4 of my fights, I'm going to take the easy option. Even if I win 3 of them and get 200, 250 points per fight, well, that's better than fighting some tough or some middling opponents. The average, there's like an easy, medium, hard. Fighting a medium opponent, and if you lose, you only get 50. So getting an extra 200, 250 for 4 teams, that could be the difference. That could be the difference between first and second place in Alliance War. And at Tier 3, that's legendary gear or no legendary gear for every member of the Alliance. Let's try not to be selfish. Like, we all want to. I went 4 for 4 in the first round. I was second out of the 5, for the top 5. And it's so tempting. Like, boy, it would be great to finish top 5 and maybe even finish top 1, even though I'm not a super strong team. But you got to put the Alliance first. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna have a lot. You're gonna have a lot of angry Alliance members, and I think you don't want that. I think you definitely want to win. This screen, I think, is great. They did it in Phase 3 as well, so you can go outpost for outpost, and you can scroll down. Now, I hope the app doesn't freeze, but you could even now. There's not a lot of defensive wins here, so I think after phase, there's one. So someone from the Green Alliance lost to someone in the red. Now, there's no points for defense. So you'll see it shows you who fought, whether they won or lost, and how many points they got. So what you could do, now you could do it here, but there's so many teams, it's going to be difficult. But if there's an outpost where let's say the Red Alliance had 10 teams and 9 of them have fought, well, by going through the log, you could see which 9 have fought, and you could figure out who's left. Is it one of their power hitters, and they're waiting till the waning minutes, and they're going to try to snipe a tower from you? Is it one of their weaker members that, like, all right, they're what are they going to do? Take a really tough fight and lose? So if we had 1 tower, we lost by 100 points. 100 points. If we win that tower, this phase is meaningless to us. We have such a large lead, we would automatically win the Alliance War, basically, unless we just didn't show up for phase 4. 100 points. So don't think, you see these big numbers, 17,000, 14,000, total points is in the 30,000, there's or 100,000. So yeah, 100 point, what could that matter? Yeah, 100 points could win an outpost. The outpost is 10 plus 10,000 for us, minus 10,000 for them. That's a 20,000 point swing. And now we're coasting, baby. So it's just unfortunate, bad break for us that we lost that by that 100 points. So this is really cool. Again, I'm very hesitant to kind of scroll through it and click on too many things because I do think it's going to freeze the app and have the app crash. In addition, if you click on one of these, which I will not do right now, but you can do this for yourself, go into the battle log, click on one, it shows you the 2 teams. You could, so Dario 207 beat Vaterizer. It's going to show you which team went against what. And you'll see, about a little above midway through the screen on the left, it says battle results is lit up. And on the right side, it says teams. And again, I won't do it here because there's 337 teams here. It will absolutely crash the app, but you can click on teams and you'll see everyone's teams. And again, in the red keep, probably not as important, but in an outpost, it could be. Because if you're in a tough fight, let's say one of the alliances is, they're way down in third. And by the way, some of the outposts, we were way down in third. I mean, we just got smashed. And I think the other alliance is focused on, hey, let's go for towers that we want buffs. Let's not worry about the points. Let's get the buffs we want so that we can win phase 4. That's what they're trying to do. So now you see, the Dracarys DE team, they had 10 potential fights. They fought 9. Now I could look at their teams and I could see who the player is and which team they have. You can kind of, if you wanted to really get granular with it, You can start clicking around and say, okay, this is the team this is like their fourth best team, no big deal. Or you'll say, oh, wow, this is their 950,000 all 7-star greens team. Uh-oh, that's going to be a problem because they're definitely going to win their fight, and then it's just a matter of how many points they get. So like I said, I was really impressed with this. The information that they give you, it's smooth, it's easy to read, and at a quick glance, the most important thing is this thing on top where it says battles completed, and essentially battles remaining. So you can then evaluate when people in my alliance were getting nervous. Hey, we're already down 3,000 points this phase. Uh-oh. And the first thing I did is I went into the red keep. I clicked on battle log. I looked at it. I said, hey, guys, they fought 9 more battles than we did. Nothing to worry about. When we fight those 9 battles, even if we only got half of those points back, our lead is pretty secure. We're not out of the woods yet, but it's pretty secure. So that is the battle log. And now we're going to take a look at a fight. I'm not going to do the actual fight, but I do want to show you something that's a little interesting. So when you want to take one of your 4 teams to battle, you hit this kind of glowing, pulsing green button with the white swords on it. So let's take a look at my Baratheon team. Every fight, you're going to be presented with 3 opponents, like an easier opponent on the left, an average, someone comparable with your strength in the middle, and someone tough on the right. Now this varies. In fact, this opponent on the right, that is the toughest opponent that has been presented to me yet. Because of that, if I were to risk that, I would get 750 points for winning the combat. The maximum is 800. So not only do I see their name and their might, but I get to see their team. I get to see who their leader is. And just below, I don't want to hit attack here, but you'll see their bonuses 3 or up top. Let's go up top. Let's do ours first. As a reminder, under the picture of Blue Joffrey, if I click on bonuses, hey, here's the bonuses we won from the outpost. And if I need a reminder of what they have, good idea before each battle to refresh your memory so you don't forget and make a mistake, because a mistake can be critical. So if I fight even this middling team, they'll have 15% chance dodge. Okay, hopefully that won't trigger too many times. All my guys start with 2 ice. And the counter. All allies will counter for 100% attack physical damage the first 3 turns. So here's something I found that's interesting, and I pontificated about it in my first video, and then I'm going to wrap things up here because I think I've explained as much as I can explain. So we take a look here. One of the questions I had was, hey, what about fighting with this team where I have a good amount of legendary gear? And after that fight is done, well, I'm done. They're done. That team's done. Other than being on defense, they're done for Alliance War. Now can I take that legendary gear, move it to Team 2, and fight that battle? And I did this in Phase 3. So the quick answer to that question is you can. You can fight after the fight's over, move all your legendary gear over to your other team, fight with them, then move all your legendary gear off of them into Team 3, rinse and repeat Team 4. So I did this. And yes, there is a small nominal silver, 50 silver, to me, small price to pay to try to win an Alliance War. But there's an interesting thing that happened, and I'm going to try to recreate it here. Because what I noticed was, at some point when I changed my gear around and went back into this screen, my opponents changed. So I think that's how they're getting around what I called like the cheesy way of, oh, well, can I just take my one legendary gear and pass it around like hotcakes so that everybody can use it? So their answer to that is, yeah, you make your team stronger. We're just going to change your opponents. On the one hand, and I'm going to try to illustrate that here, but on the one hand, oh man, that's unfortunate. I thought I found a loophole. I thought I found a way that I could sort of cheat the system. I can't do it. However, talk about changing opponents. Sometimes you're presented with an option, or all 3 options are no good. I don't want to fight this. I don't want to fight the weak team. It's not enough points. I don't want to fight the medium team because not enough points. But I can't fight the strong team because it's all 7-star. There's a 5-star and a bunch of 7-star, and this team is just going to knock me out of the park. So can I change my gear? I'm thinking about, can I take off some gear to reduce my might to have it sort of re-roll my opponents? So let's see if we can illustrate that now. So let's remove all of Joffrey's legendary gear. I'll spend the 50 silver. Oh, the gear is so good. The gear is so good. It kills me. It absolutely kills me. Now keep in mind, this is going to make It's going to reduce the might of my team, and Joffrey's going to be a lot weaker. So that's not necessarily a good thing, but I'm presented with a combat option that is not pleasant to me. So let me just see what this does. And I should have seen, I think he was around 130, so I think we dropped about 15,000 might, and he's half naked. So there you go. Now you see here, I think my team in the lower left was 564,000 might. They're down to 545. So the one thing we learned is yes, yes, yes. After phase 3 starts, and obviously phase 4, you can gain shards of a character, and if you have enough, you can enhance them to gain their star level. You can level them up. You can change equipment. And whereas one of our major questions was, does everything sort of get frozen or locked in when phase 3 starts? And it appears, at least right now, it appears that the answer is no. Now let's hop into the battle and look what happened. Look what happened. The guy in the middle, I think it's the same guy, but no, it's just, that team is the same, but the weaker team, I think, was Peter. That one changed, and the top team changed. Now the points are only 650, but this is it's still a stronger team than mine. There is a greens guy in there, so I'm a little worried about that. And 7-star Theon. So there's a couple of greens guys in there, so I don't know if I specifically want this, but the point is, I think their intent was not for you to be able to sort of keep spinning the wheel until you found a matchup that you were comfortable with. And just by taking some gear off, we did that. We're going to put Joffrey's equipment back on. We see that my might of that team is restored to 564, and it restored the exact same opponents I had initially. The exact same. Dennis at 853 for the top fight. The medium fight didn't change under any event. And now Peter for the weaker fight. So again, that's where I'm going to kind of leave you with this. That is the first thing that I've found out so far that I'm not happy about it. I would have rather it been frozen in. And I'd rather have nothing that can be exploited. I'd rather it just be good play. Good strategic play, strategic placement of your teams, and let's have at it, rather than exploits, loopholes, bugs, glitches, things of that nature. I'd always rather it be a fair fight. That's just who I am. That being said, there's two schools of thought out there. There's the high road, like, well, yep, there's an exploit there. I'm not going to use that. That's not fair. True. 100% true. But how do you know the other guys aren't doing it? How do you know that they haven't found this or a different exploit? They're fighting hard. And what if they're doing stuff like this? What if they're just mixing and matching their gear and this and that and trying to find, like, oh, now I've got a powerful fight, but it's a weaker team in terms of synergy. So it's a fight they can win. They can get 650 points. Because you saw before, that's 750. I can't get that. I can't beat that team. I'd have to be unbelievably lucky to beat that team. The 650 team, even with Joffrey missing 3 pieces of equipment and a couple of greens on their team, which I'm not thrilled about, I think I got a fighting chance. So if it comes down to it tomorrow and we're behind and we need that 650 points, I take off Joffrey's equipment. I take a shot there. So again, I'm not advising to use exploits. We really shouldn't. And I hope this gets reported. I'll try to find on the official Discord and mention it. Again, I don't know if it's so much an exploit or a bug. I think it's just game mechanics. I think they probably lack the ability, but based on the way the game is coded, to sort of freeze your roster. So I assume the way the game is coded is you have Blue Joffrey. I see Blue Joffrey in combat. The game then says, look up Blue Joffrey for Sir Mike's account. Oh, here's his equipment, here's his stars, here's his levels, and this is his might. So give him these opponents. I mean, it's better than the alternative where you could pass the legendary gear around, where you could sort of, then you'd be able to trick the system in a different way. You'd be able to deploy all your teams with no equipment, nothing, take them all off. Everybody walks in naked. And then as soon as phase 3 starts, you gear them all up and you go do your fights. And then, they gave you what was supposed to be a tough fight, and now it's not so tough a fight, and you're just getting a bunch of points because you've sort of artificially increased the power of your team. So I'm glad that it's not that. But I think I've been able to illustrate this here. And pretty interesting that you can, if I had taken that gear off and come back here and saw another, like that other fight, I don't like that fight because the Greens team's there. I said, okay, let me put my equipment back on. Let me stick with what I got. I'm not going to fight Dennis. I'll go fight Shigo and hope that I can win that battle. So that is all I have for you at this point. There will be more parts of this video at some point in time. I may do a recap after phase 4, or perhaps I'll wait until subsequent weeks to see what other things develop, what things they tweak, fix, adjust, or otherwise. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Comment below, and we'll see you eventually in part 3.